girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo! Pumped up, baby. Fire.
How long did it take you to edit that? Oh, that was
wow.
awesome.
Yo, that intro is
thank you.
hype, bro. That intro
Thank
is
you.
hype.
Thank you. I do what I can. I do what I can. But I gotta blow up this guy here.
Oh,
Look at this guy.
My head's too fat for the mask, though.
No, the mask is too thin for your head.
You're very kind.
What's going on, all my movie loving badasses? It's your boy Preston, Fat Samurai Guy. We are back again with another episode of Versus, baby. That's right. We have two Batman classics going head to head. Which one is the best Batman origin movie? We're going to get to that. We're going to have some fun here. But first up, let's get the introductions out of the way, and then we can get started. The commentary beast, Frank Jang. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you.
Actor, filmmaker, stuntman, martial artist Kyle Wong, who is de-aging, by the way. You're de-aging. I don't like it. I'm angry. So you're good to have you. And here he is.
Thanks for having me.
Action flicks, baby. Big John in the house.
How's it going?
Welcome back. Yeah, man. And here he is, director of Bone Cold. That's right, Billy Hanson. Welcome back, bro.
I need to start putting that in my name. Like
you gotta do that now. And it's the first time on Versus on the channel. What an honor to have this guy. You know, the Samurai Guy's got to hang out with the Shogun. I got to hang out with the Shogun. Frankie, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm hyped.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I just want to say, Frankie, I have the same kind of couch situation as yours, except that I have 10 times as many discs.
Oh, dude, you don't want to know. Like, I just threw stuff to the floor because I was getting on camera. Like, all this.
Oh.
He's got goodies. Yes.
But at least he can still sit on that couch. My couch is like, forget it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing the way I see it. All I see is joy.
There you go. That's right. And we have the fanatical Batman.
I'm going to swap hats.
There you go.
Good to be back.
Fanatical Dragon is here. And of course, Kung Fu Santa himself, right? Rick Myers here. Ooh, Bat. Nice. The Bat clothes, that's right. And the comics represent. Yeah. Let's say hello to people in the chat here. Oh, they're flooding in. What's going on? We got Mess Samurai here. He says Batman Begins all the way. They're already voting. Wow. Lady Danish is looking forward to start the ruckus. Everyone's starting the ruckus. John Martinez, there you go. Michael Gonzalez's two favorite Batman films. There you go. Adam Evans in the house. Anubis in the house. Javon Wallace, who's going to be making a special guest cameo a little bit later. Yes. Bob Odinson, what's going on? Good to see everyone here. Will Thorburn. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this, baby. Oh, yeah. So after the hilarious travesty of Batman and Robin, which is really funny, you watch that as good bad now. You can have some fun with that. But after that, Warner Brothers was like, "Oh boy, we gotta start over, man. We gotta take some time and start over." And then boom, Batman Begins came out, and I was so excited. I didn't know Christian Bale's work at the time, and but then I saw Equilibrium, and then I was like, "Oh, he should be fine as Batman." And then I went to go see the movie, and this will be spoiler talk too. Everybody watching, this is spoilers. These movies have been out for a while, so it's fine. So I went to go see the movie, and I was just like so in awe. I was so happy that we're back to being dark again, and we're not homaging the Adam West era with the Schumacher movies. Even though I enjoy the Adam West era because I grew up with Adam West Batman, Batusi son, drinking that bat milk, all right. And so I was in awe, just the darkness of it, the music. Hans Zimmer score. It's like, oh my God, Liam Neeson, Ken Watanabe, Gary Oldman, like the cast, like the action. Some of the action set pieces is just phenomenal. The visuals, Michael Caine. Like I was just blown away by everything. But while watching the movie, something was bothering me. Like the whole film, I'm like in awe, enjoying everything, and then I'm just still like, I'm doing this. I'm going, like I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'm enjoying this. This is a good movie, but something's bothering me, man. And I couldn't piece it up. I called my buddy on the phone, and I was like, dude, Batman Begins is legit. It's pretty good. But still, something was bothering me. I met him at work the next day. He saw it at a different theater, and I was like, what'd you think? He goes, I loved it. But this Christopher Nolan guy, I really hope, for the love of God, he never directs a martial arts movie. And I went, there it is. There it is. You know, the quick cut editing was a popular thing back in the early 2000s, unfortunately. And that was what was really bothering me. Like a lot of the fights, as soon as they got going, I was getting blue balls. You know, I was like, no, until, when it came out on DVD and I rewatched it and I could soak it in and I had it on my small TV, I enjoyed the fights a little bit better. But here's the thing. Everything else is so good, I can kind of forgive that.
By the way, I'll be talking about that.
Okay. Maybe you have some behind the scenes here.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. All right. But still love it. Still think it's one of the best Batman films ever made, for sure. All right, enough of that. Nitpicks? Didn't really give a shit about Rachel, but whatever. Okay. Anybody could have played Rachel. Let's get the girl from Starbucks. Hey, you want to be in a movie? You want to be Rachel? Okay, cool. Come on in. Anybody could have played Rachel. All right. Anyway. All right. Frank. Good and the bad of Batman Begins. What did you think?
Me, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I absolutely love it. It's a wonderful world-building film.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it, in a way, it's kind of non-linear. In the very beginning, how we always see Christian Bale's Batman in his present day form, all tormented and stuff, and then as the film progresses, we go back to his origin, so to how how he learned his stuff, how he went to Ra's al Ghul and all that jazz.
Right.
But like I said, the world building is great. The actors are fantastic. The action, the non-fight action, I thought was wonderful. And the tumbler chase, the whole final, climax is all very nicely done. It's a great comic book movie and is entertaining, thrilling, and it also it's not like a comic, like it's not as comic book in terms of its looks as say the Batman, as Matt Reeves film, but it still has his comic book side of it. The way the characters are explored, the way they're portrayed. And it's just, I just think Nolan did a great job, and also how he has actually really two villains if you think about it. Al Ragul, Liam Neeson's character, and then the surprise was of course Cillian Murphy's the Scarecrow, because you like when you first watch it, you weren't really expecting him to be Scarecrow. You're just seeing, this is just sleazy lawyer and stuff. And I also like the fact that how the film very cleverly, this guy is really a gangster crime movie in a comic book setting, in the comic books, and he's fantastic. I think he's a much better Falcone than John Turturro, but I'll explain why later. But I think the casting is wonderful. I mean, what's her face? Holmes, the Rachel notwithstanding. But I agree with Phat. I mean, everyone can play this part, And in a way, I actually thought Maggie, what's her last name? Gyllenhaal, yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal was actually not as good as she was. I mean, that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. But then the great music, James Newton Howard's music, cinematography. Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful beginning to a trilogy that I think that all three films were really kind of, milestones in comic book movie making. So I love it.
Especially the nightmare scenes were dope.
Yeah,
anytime there was a nightmare scene, man, I was like, oh, visuals. I'm loving it. I'm loving that. All right. Kyle.
Definitely the highlight was being like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is definitely a great James Gordon. throughout
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole trilogy, in my opinion, especially how he starts off as just a beat cop, then continually with just understanding what's going on. And I actually like the fact that we don't get the actual Batman costume when they first work together. It's literally like the mask, and that reminded me of Mask of the Phantasm when I grew up, where he just started off and just was black balaclava and no cape or anything else, just like his own utility belt, and then just try to fight crime. And then it was interesting to see this film have logic behind all of Bruce's utilities for everything that he would get. Not just like, he's just rich. Here, he could just grab all this and all this. Yeah, Morgan Freeman's Lucius Fox literally saying, yeah we have all this. Like, you just have all this sitting here? Yeah, it's your company, it's your money. Go ahead, use it.
Spelunking.
Isn't
it spelunking?
Yeah. Write it down. It was interesting to see that, and I was like, that makes sense. You know what? I don't know why you have to live in your own building, let alone the freaking microwave emitter to just, spread the whole fear thing. That was questionable. That's the only thing. That and the fact that even though it felt really introducing like Maroni, Falcone, Scarecrow, and then the corporate side having randomly Rutger Hauer on the corporate side. It felt like there was so many like sub and then real villains up to Liam Neeson. That was the only thing about the drawback that I would say about the film. But other than that, like, it felt nice that we got a reboot / reintroduction to Batman to a newer within the 2000s than what we got back with George Clooney. All I can say is it did feel nice to see something very different.
Well, you don't like George Clooney as Batman?
Hey,
freeze.
George Clooney doesn't like George Clooney as Batman.
That's true. He's hilarious. I heard him. All right, Billy.
So I had a really similar experience watching Batman Begins that you did, because I was in the theater and I was recognizing, like, this is a cool Batman. Like, they've made a big leap. They've made a concerted effort to go back to something cool and dark and rooted in emotion and character. But I was sort of left a little cold because I felt like the story did such a good job at building up those fight scenes, and they should have been this sort of like emotional catharsis to watch him kick the shit out of a bunch of guys, and then all you get is that like so it's exactly like you said.
Ninjas.
Yeah. So like conceptually I was like, this is like spot on, this is awesome. But I left the theater feeling a little let down, a little cheated. So I didn't like it the first time I saw it, and then I watched it again and I went, oh, actually this is pretty great. Like, this is a pretty great
It's
movie.
a grower.
Like, it's for sure. And once I sort of knew that the fight scenes weren't going to deliver like what I exactly wanted, I started to look at the rest of the story, like all the character building, all the world building stuff, and like I clocked it. I watched it again yesterday, and it's like a full hour before you see Batman, before that big "I'm Batman" moment, and I don't mind that at all. Like, I never minded waiting an hour to see Batman, because you're watching these really cool training montages. You're getting this incredible background for this guy, and like I said before, there's logic to literally every piece of this, and that way when he is the Batman in the suit fighting the bad guys, you're just so on board with him. And then there's still like another hour and 20 minutes of movie left, so it's awesome, and there's time for like those big chase scenes and the big action scenes. So now looking back at it, I love it, and I think it's a classic. And like, I mean, this movie, and obviously The Dark Knight too, but I think this one is really the one that should be credited more with launching the whole superhero genre that happened, because this is the first time that they were taking superheroes seriously as characters. And the script for this one was so tight. Like, it's 220, so it's not a short movie, but there is so much packed into that 2 hours and 20 minutes that like you're just getting constant story and constant character. and it's all efficient and tight. And the very first scene they're talking about fear, and then everything else in the movie is built off of fear and like using fear, changing fear, like facing your own fear. And so when you do that, you get this really immersive emotional experience with a comic book movie, which I don't think we'd really seen much of before. So yeah, it was really nice to have that kind of change in superhero movies and watch something like, I feel like everyone wanted this exact kind of Batman. Like, I just want to see him fight people. I want to see scary villains that need to be stopped instead of Arnold one-liners,
It's funny, Billy, what you mentioned earlier. I remember when this came out and then The Dark Knight came out, I remember a lot of critics and people were going, it's too, like, they didn't like the fact that it was portrayed as realistic. They were like, I'd rather just go watch Heat.
Yeah.
Then why do you get your Batman out of my Heat movie? I was like, oh, click. I'm going to listen to these idiots. Jesus Christ. There's nothing wrong with being grounded in reality, comic movies, and fantasy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all. And I think there's a really interesting cross section of those two things. Like you can absolutely have like elegant, poetic storytelling in superheroes. They're exaggerated versions of human emotions. Like that's what they're sort of meant to be. That's why you can have this big giant chase scene that feels really tense and emotional and sad. So yeah, I don't know. Like, and I'll say one personal thing too from Batman Begins. When we were making Bone Cold, we have a creature in our movie, and we wanted to make it surreal and creepy. So every time you see it, there's this little warble effect that's going on. There's sort of quick zooms in and out. Absolutely stole that from Scarecrow in Batman Begins. I think I literally said, let's try to do the Batman Begins thing. So it's really creepy every time we see it.
Well, the best steal from the best. And speaking of the best, he just showed up. OGP in the house. You made it.
The best. I have failed you. I apologize.
You're fired, sir. You're fired.
Man, I'm telling you, I had obligations earlier in the day. They were supposed to be over at 2, and that did not happen. So I apologize. But
it's all good. But
Batman rules.
Yeah. Well, welcome, brother. And OGP, we vote at the end. So don't vote yet. We're just talking about both movies. Yeah.
Sure.
We just talk about what we like and we didn't like, and then we vote at the end. All right. We only have the great Frank Jang here for probably like 10 more minutes. So let's go ahead and semi-speed it up here, and then we'll get to Frank, and then he'll talk about the next movie, and then he has to bounce. But we'll go to my man, Shogun. Shogun, thoughts on Batman Begins? And this guy over here, this guy knows his ninja movies. So I'm curious to hear what he has to say.
I mean, when I first saw this in the theater, I already seen Nolan's work from Memento. Like, that was like a rental shop freaking movie that was passed around like a joint. Like, everybody saw Memento back in the day. If you chilled around like NYU. The first 20 minutes of the film, I didn't know it was a Batman film. I felt like I was watching Lee Summerdie. It's just that good. The color grading, the palette on Walter Fisser, I think he's the DOP. Like, the shots and the framing of Batman Begins actually feels like comic book panels, but you forget you're watching a comic book film. You're watching a pure film, like Shawshank Redemption, all that. Like, I forgot it was this Batman film. And seeing through the process of it, you could tell how deliberate Nolan was, that he made you forget you're watching a comic book film until you see him appear. Because for me, that was so surreal when I saw the Batman suit. I'm like, oh, this is a Batman film. Oh, it's official. He ain't moving his neck. Yeah. Even with the action, I didn't mind, because the thing is, there's something that people forget about what's really, not really, but what amplifies a film is the music. So I was in the zone.
That's important. Yeah.
The cuts didn't matter to me. Look, I'm used to seeing freaking stuff from DTV, USA Network up all night, Ninja Terminator, stuff like that. I don't care. As long as it tells me the story that it needs to be told, I'm fine with it. As long as it flows, it flows. And plus, these actors don't have like an action background, so I never put my expectations like up there. This is not Hong Kong where they could take a freaking ballerina and make it look like Bruce Lee, bro. That ain't happening.
Yeah, copy that.
I love the film. I really do because, like Billy said, it changed the game. It set the trend. Just like Blade did with the leather outfits for everything going on in the 2000s. This thing was serious. Like I mentioned, I forgot I was watching a Batman film. It's the way we value the comics. Like this is some serious stuff. Then we had the Frank Miller arc.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is the Batman film. So yeah, I mean, you guys already broke down with the characters. I mean, we have freaking Gary Oldman. I mean, come on, that dude is a legend. He's up there. People mention Tom Hanks. F that, bro. Gary Oldman, bro. Great actor and great character actor on top of that. Once you're a character actor, you're the G. You're the man.
You didn't like Tom Hanks in Pinocchio?
I don't like Tom Hanks, period, bro.
That was classic.
He looks
Guys,
like
don't use one good actor to hurt another good actor. Just stop it.
You know, like Tom Hanks is like the uncle that used to freaking put, Payless sneakers inside Nike.
Shogun, I love you, but bullshit. Move on.
Good, but Gary
Move on. He's great. Move on.
Thumbs up from Shogun for Batman Begins. All right, Fanatical.
I'll be quick because everyone's said a whole bunch of pretty much great stuff already. Easily the best cast I think ever assembled for any comic book movie. Even the supporting characters who are only in for one scene are phenomenal. That wee kid that he sees on the staircase is Joffrey from Game of Thrones. I mean, come on, everybody's like top tier. And easily my favorite Batmobile from any Batman movie. I think the Tumbler might not be the slickest. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so cool. It's the closest I think we'll ever get to that tank in The Dark Knight Returns, which I don't think you could ever really make a live action version of and have it make sense. So that was like a kind of great actual practical version of it. So cool. Yeah, just incredible. And I think it does all the heavy lifting for what would come after, right? So you can't get The Dark Knight without Batman Begins doing everything that it does. Because Dark Knight was able to kind of hit the ground running. And for maybe the last decade or so, anytime I watch the movies, I don't really watch them individually. I have a tendency to watch the first two just back to back. So the Batman Begins and The Dark Knight kind of feel like one big movie to me. Dark Knight Rises is a whole different conversation. We'll maybe get there in a different verses, but those first two as one long movie, you can almost have The Dark Knight as an incredible third act of Batman Begins. And yeah, absolutely incredible. And as others said, best score as well. Best score from any Batman.
All right. Yep. OGP, what did you like? Really quick, positives and negatives on Batman Begins, if you even have any negatives.
So what I really like is just the fact that, I mean, we were coming off for Batman Begins. That was like the next after what Batman and Robin was like the one right before it, right? And so to me, I mean, the films before, even going back to Batman '89, which my favorite Batman, Michael Keaton, as the Batman himself, but not necessarily my favorite movie. But those were very over the top, colorful, kind of hokey, cheesy, goofy. I like the fact that this was a little more serious. They did a great job giving us a backstory on Batman or, on Bruce Wayne without it kind of pulled some emotion out of you, which the other movies, there was no emotion coming out of me up to this point in Batman movies. So the fact that it's like, man, this poor little kid just saw his parents killed in front of him. They did it good while maintaining good pacing. It was a long movie, but they kept it going. It's dark, and I mean, it's Batman. You want it to happen at night. You want it to be rainy or gloomy, and so they gave us a lot of the things that we wanted. And me, I will just be completely honest. Superhero movies are not in my wheelhouse. I am first and foremost a horror movie fan. And so the darker they get, the more on board I am. And so I absolutely loved what they did with this. And I mean, and like everybody said, the cast, everything about it, I thought it was just great. Off the top of my head, I really have nothing to complain about with this movie.
All right. Copy that. John, really quickly. Sorry.
I liked it.
Hey, you guys can go back and talk about it after I leave. It's not like just because I.
Oh yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know. I don't know that I like it sounded a little. I don't know.
No, I mean,
Listen,
like
okay,
it.
real quick, because I know Frank has to leave.
No, but it's okay. You guys can keep talking about Batman Begins after I'm gone. Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
Christopher Nolan does. I mean, I don't even like the term comic book. I call them graphic novels. I've been a fan since I was 5-6 years old when my parents brought me into a store and were like, "What is this?" And I've been collecting ever since. I just love because like Superman the movie, X-Men, you know, those were taken seriously. Blade, they were taking superhero movies seriously again. How can you not get more serious than Christopher Nolan, the guy that did Inception, for Christ's sakes? The cast, Christian Bale put the work in. We always say, like on my other podcast, if the actors put the work in, you know, he built, you know, he's one of those actors that he'll lose 80 pounds if he has to. He'll bulk up if he has to. Yeah, he does a phenomenal job. He's a little tight, you know, behind the camera, as we all know, but that's because he's an artist, you know, he wants things done the right way. But I mean, the fight scenes I like, you know, are they hard to watch? Yeah, but I'm one that really because I'm a martial artist, so I really focus on everything. And like watching it at home on your TV, you can go back and rewind and stuff like that. So when watching it in the theater for the first time, yeah, I was kind of like, wow, that was kind of like Born Identity or, you know, type of stuff going on. And it's got ninjas in it. You put ninjas in anything, it's like it just automatically makes it a better movie. And I liked how they made it like martial arts, you know, like because you know Batman, that's what he trains. He's a normal guy, so they incorporated the mysticism and, you know, and the mythos of the martial arts. And how can you not complain, you know, about Liam Neeson, Gary Oldman, you know, Morgan Freeman, for Christ's sakes? And I kind of like the James Bond to it, you know, where he had the research and development and all these gadgets and stuff like that, and the tumbler. And it's badass when that tumbler, when he comes out for the first time with that thing. It's like its own character. You're just like you're sitting there in the theater, you're just like, what in the actual hell am I watching right now? This is the most fantastic thing I've ever seen in my life. And I think Batman Begins. I mean, we're just talking about the first one, but I think it's got like an edge over the Batman because there's the two other films, and it's such an immersive, expanded, epic scope of a franchise. You know, will the Batman get there? We'll talk about it. But I mean, yeah, I just loved it that they were taking it seriously, and people were like, "Oh, wait a second, you know, this is more than just a comic book movie. This is actual, you know, cinema." You know, and Hans Zimmer. Like, I love John Williams' Superman score, but I love his score for The Man of Steel just as much. I get goosebumps when I hear it, and his score for Batman is equally just like, it's just like you hear it and you're just like, yep, okay, let's go.
And there's also actually James Newton Howard also worked on it, so it's like Hans Zimmer.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I liked it. Yep, I liked it. It was good. And it had ninjas, so there you go. We're good.
Phat, let Frank talk. I'll talk because I'm going to go on for hours.
Okay.
So let
All right.
Frank talk.
Frank,
Okay.
before Frank leaves us and gives his vote, Frank, thoughts on the Batman?
Okay, so the Batman. The Batman is really more of a detective story. There's you know, comparatively speaking, there's actually very little action. Although the action is very good. It's a character inspiration, many character inspiration, really. And I saw this film twice in the theater because I think the cinematography is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And also, unlike Batman Begins, Gotham City is also a character in this film, you know. And I think it really kind of, you need to see the Batman twice to kind of appreciate the overall thing, everything that you see in the film. But I mean, of course, you can. I mean, when it comes to casting, you cannot compare that with Batman Begins. I mean, no matter how good, you know, Jeffrey Wright, I think is actually much better as Felix Leiter than as you know, Commissioner Gordon. I mean, he's no Gary Oldman. I'm sorry to say, you know, Gary Oldman did such a wonderful job. And then my main complaint was with John Turturro. With John Turturro, you can, like, the moment he show up in that film, you can tell he's acting. He's like, yeah, he's acting. The moment he walked, remember that scene at the funeral, he walked out from the car. It's like, dude is acting, you know. Whereas with the other guy who plays yeah, he was wonderful. You know, he's like so natural. He's like, you can totally believe him as a Chicago gangster boss, even though he's British. So that's all. So casting wise, I mean, the casting is good. I like Robert Pattinson. I like how brooding and moody he was. But I mean, it's a great portrayal, and I look forward to it. I think my other main concern was really the ending of the film. I'm not sure I like the idea that at the end he kind of revealed himself to everybody. Like remember at the end with the flooding and stuff, then he decided to go and rescue all these people. I'm not sure I like the way that is resolved. It's almost like I prefer him to be like himself, loner, vigilante kind of type, and not this guy. I mean, it's almost like Superman. It's like he became kind of Superman, and I'm not sure that's the kind of Batman story I want to see moving forward. I'd rather him be this one man guy, one man vigilante fighting various crime bosses. Again, the Penguin, what's his name? Colin Farrell is fantastic. The Penguin. So it's a great film. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, there's some flaws in it. I still think it's a great film, but I don't think it's on the caliber of Batman Begins. And so here's my vote. So before I give you a vote, which is kind of obvious by now, but I'll just tell a little story. Okay, so last week, me and my wife went to a pizza place. We want to eat pizza, and at the pizza place, there are several TVs showing different channels. So one of the TV, of course, was showing Batman Begins, and so we ended up staying there for over an hour just watching the film. I mean, by the time we got in, by the time we got the pizza place, it's already like maybe been playing for like 10, 15 minutes. We just stayed there and watched like for another hour and so, it's like we were glued to the screen. We couldn't leave. I saw the Batman a little bit earlier this morning. My third time, like I said, I saw it twice in the theater, and I fell asleep. And I mean, I just felt that I think the story took too long to tell. I mean, it's not like it's not a bad story. I just feel that this film, the Batman, is not for everyone. I think the Batman is really for someone who who's not. It's almost like he's not making it for a wider audience. He's making it for nerds and geeks like us who appreciate comic book movies, appreciate
the Batman is not for the casuals.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's exactly what I meant.
Okay.
And I also felt, right. And I also felt that I don't know, the story was just too widespread in the Batman. There's too many things going on, which or in some way it took him too long to get to the point. I think sort of, although it's still a great film, like I said. But I mean, no comparison. My vote goes to Batman Begins.
All right, there we go.
What a surprise! Who would have thought?
Frank, thanks for showing up, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Love you, brother. See you soon.
Guys, see you later.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right.
Wear your mask. All right.
All right, we have one for Batman Begins already, and now Rick's going to talk. Go for it.
Hello. I'm always fascinated by, being that I am the age that I am, and being my relationship with Batman is longer than any of your relationships with Batman. I'm always interested in how people make judgments. Also, my years of seeing movies and reading comic books is far more extensive than yours. I mean, the first comic book I probably started reading when I was 4 or 5 years old, which was 65 years ago, was Batman. Because I always went to Batman because Superman the comics had already degenerated into the red kryptonite and what if stories, because they had just run out of ideas. They've been doing it for so long. And over the years, I loved Batman because I read two kinds of books when I was a kid, which was science fiction and mysteries. And Batman, they kept announcing in the comics that he was a great detective. And that's what I wanted. And also, because I started my career in comic books in 1973, this 50th anniversary Detective Comics 80-page number 598, beginning the 50th anniversary adventure. In the back of this comic, we have a section, tribute. People of note pay homage to the Batman. And a couple of pages later,
Hey. Hey. Nice.
I also was the writer of the sequel to Digital Justice, the Pepe Moreno first computer-drawn Batman story. It was never published because Pepe sort of fell out after that. So I'm very well versed. I was well known and accepted into the halls of DC Comics, was very good friends with the editor of the Batman books, which is why I wound up in that issue. I mean, when he asked me to do a page in the Detective Comics, I was stunned. And so I've seen them all. The first Batman on screen I ever saw was from the serial. I mean, I wasn't that old yet, but they did, once the television show was successful, they repackaged the serial and the cliffhanger serial. And I saw all 15 chapters in one afternoon. So yeah, I know Batman extremely well, and but I learned very, very quickly to take each one individually, not comparing, only judging them on whether they were good or bad, not whether they were better than the last one or whatever. And so when I was so disappointed, as was my favorite Batman movie is the Michael Keaton Batman.
Hey,
I thought that was the best balance they ever accomplished between the two Batman worlds, the comic world and the movie world. But I love it when people take it. All I want a movie to be is good. I don't care whether it's funny or, it's Superman, not Superman, James Bond, which was the first serious movie I saw when I was growing up. I saw Dr. No when it came out in 1962. I learned with James Bond that if I expected each James Bond to be better than the last, I was asking for trouble, because I had to take each one individually. So yes, Batman and Robin was a travesty, was sad, was campy, was stupid, but Warner Brothers has a history of sabotaging itself and sabotaging its films. See what they did to Green Lantern. See what they did to Superman. The first Superman, I was on the set of the original Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner Superman for a month. And then the second one comes out, and I go, and then especially the third one comes out, I go, what the F? Because, of course, the second one was the first one. They filmed that all at the same time, so I saw them filming that too. But the third one, and again, Warner's is letting these guys get away with this stuff, and they're constantly sabotaging themselves. So what I believe happened on the basis, because since I was working for Inside Kung Fu magazine for 20 to 30 years, I would always become friends with the action directors, both in America and in Asia. And they would tell me stories. And also, since I was involved in Hollywood for 10 years, I saw what happened behind the scenes with the producers. So I recognized, and whenever I see a movie like Batman Begins, I love becoming the movie detective. Why did it turn out this way? And so I started asking around at the San Diego Comic-Con, since I've been to the San Diego Comic-Con. That's where everybody gets together, all the backstage guys as well. And I would always ask them what happened. And they had a certain amount of very minor faith in me that I wouldn't reveal it. In fact, I did reveal it in one book, and that book was not allowed to be published. I had to completely rewrite it before it could be published, because I gave away all these secrets. Be that as it may. So what Warner's did, Batman and Robin, then Batman Begins. But again, they started doing their backstage stuff, saying, well, maybe you can do a little of this, and maybe you can change a little of that. I mean, you look what happens to the G.I. Joe movies and how they get these great choreographers and then cut the action scenes to shit in the editing room. So here I heard from somebody, I'm not sure who, it could have been the designer, it could have been Michael Uslan, who I was friends with during the comics years, who's the producer of the Batman, the executive producer of all the Batman films. He said, and also the choreographer said, Justo Diguez, David Foreman, Andy Norman, they talked about how hard they worked on choreographing the Batman Begins scenes. And then when I see them at Comic-Con, I went, what happened? They said, the fucking costume. They had supposedly learned their lesson on the last one to allow, and especially from the Michael Keaton one, to let Batman turn his head. But again, they were on such a tight budget and on such a tight schedule that when the costume came in and they were filming when there were, those scenes in the where Liam Neeson is training him. That wasn't filmed in America. I forgot where it was filmed, but it was in a foreign land. So once the costume came in, they didn't have time to change it. So they just sort of went, we have to cut the shit out of this.
Oh.
And they cut this shit out of
Huh.
And then once they
Okay.
got out of there, and once they had time to change it, a decision was made, I'm not sure by who. They said, we have to make it consistent. We have to have all the fights be consistent. So again, so that's what that explains the action scenes. Because did you ever wonder, suddenly Dark Knight comes out, there's absolutely no problem. The fights are wonderful.
Right, right.
They kind of work, they sort of work into the script in The Dark Knight, though. He specifically says it'd be nice to be able to turn his head, and they kind of do a seat redesign.
Yes, that's what Christopher Nolan knows. That's why Christopher Nolan's not working with Warner's anymore, because he has the power to do what he wants. Because of course Nolan is one of my favorite. Memento is still one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
The other problem I had, which is the problem they had with Batman Returns. Loved Batman with Burton and Keaton, and then Batman Returns. And what's one of the greatest? If that had been 2 and 3, if they had done Batman Returns and Batman Returns the third time, if they had one with Catwoman, one with Penguin, they probably would have been awesome. Maybe not, because Warner's might have found another way to sabotage them. So here, in this movie, when I'm watching, I'm going, oh, no, not 2 villains. No, not 2 villains. 1 villain. Concentrate on 1 villain. Batman versus, period. And each of the villains, everybody's a little soft. The Scarecrow, I mean, Cillian Murphy now, Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy and virtually everything else, he's great. But Scarecrow didn't have any effect on me at all. I was just kind of like, that's no Joker. That's no Riddler. I mean, if it was just Ra's al Ghul, we're good.
Right.
So basically, I left the theater again going, I have a mystery to solve. And I went out and solved the mystery. Again, Warner's doing stuff, but it was powerful enough, and Nolan is powerful enough to be able to say, the next one, you don't say a fucking word to me. I'm going to do it. I seem to remember Uslan was talking about that. So, yeah, unlike everyone else, I saw it when it first came out. And I saw it in order. So in other words, I'm not using it as a judge for anything. I hadn't seen Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises yet. Mm-hmm. I had only seen Batman Begins. So I just remember how I felt about Batman Begins, which is the way I imagine most of you felt about the Batman.
Right.
Not something's wrong. But then Dark Knight, it's like, okay, we're good. But I didn't attach them. I did not attach them. I took Batman Begins as a singular situation. All right,
that makes a lot of sense about the suit, having limited mobility.
Let us go, and not the time to change it.
Right.
In that area of the filming.
All right, now it is The Batman 2022, and I did not see any of the Twilight movies. I said, fuck those movies. It's not for me.
That's the most blast I had in the theater.
Hey, you know what? If you say they're good, bad, Shogun, if they're good, bad, I'll watch them.
They didn't, as they say in Rocky Horror Picture Show, didn't make it for you.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I didn't bother going to watch.
But I like good movies, and I enjoyed the Twilight movies.
I got sisters, man, and I had to see them.
You enjoyed them? Yeah. They're good?
Yeah, they're comedy, bro. Just have a couple of White Claws, you see.
They're fun. When you find out how the Twilight series was created as a series of books, you'd understand. But go ahead. Let's move on.
Anyway, I agree with Sumo right here.
I'm in that boat too.
Anyway,
not without a blood test. Not without a blood test.
Let's keep it going, my little spider monkey. So anyway, not really a fan, and I didn't really know Robert Pattinson's work. I wasn't really a fan of his.
Hey, he didn't write the movies or direct the movies. He just acted in them.
I wasn't really a fan of it. Like it didn't interest me to see his other stuff until I saw Good Time. I think it's Good Time or Good Times. What is it, Billy?
Good Time.
I saw Good Time, and I was like, whoa, this dude can act. Wait, hold on a second. Everybody's giving this actor a lot of shit. This guy can act. And then I saw him in Lighthouse, and I was like, this guy can act. Where the fuck did this come from? Like, this guy's really talented. So I didn't really have any more concerns about him being like Batman. I was like, we should be fine. Should be have no issues with that. And then we went to go see it in the theater. Really enjoyed it a lot. Probably liked it a lot more than we should have. But we just kind of like, there was just something about it. Something felt different about it, especially with the other superhero movies around at the time. There was something different.
It's a detective story. It's a detective story.
Yes. And I totally agree with you, Rick, that in this movie, Batman sucks as a detective. Like, really, I agree.
Really bad detective.
But we're dealing with year one Batman. Okay? He's not there yet. But it was nice to see the detective part, because we in all the other history of all the other Batman movies, we've never really seen a crime type of detective story like this in a Batman movie. So even though he wasn't great at it, it was nice to see it in the film. It was nice to see him try. Year one Batman. My issue, and I love the fights. I was going crazy when I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh my God, you can see the fights. You could see the fights in the dark. That's how good they filmed and edited these fight scenes. I was like, oh, thank God. And I just love the brutality, the ground and pound, like just destroying fools. Like, I was like, yes, more of that. So I really loved that. But my issue, and I loved everyone else. I loved all the other actors. My issue, what is this bothering me the whole movie? But for Batman Begins, it was how they filmed the fight scenes. And this one, it was like, I really liked Pattinson as Batman, but his Bruce Wayne was bothering me. Like, the whole movie, it was bothering me. And even though I still really liked the movie a lot, afterwards, it took time for me to marinate and think about it. And I would talk to some other people about it. And then my wife brought this up, and I was like, you're right. I didn't even think about it that way. Now, you could choose to think about it that way or not. You could choose, he sucked as Bruce Wayne. That's fine. But she brought this up. She said, he's not Bruce Wayne yet. Batman is his true character. Batman is who he really is. Bruce Wayne is just a facade. He hasn't grown to make that facade yet, to have the cocktails in the hotel. I'm going to buy this hotel from you, and have his bitches swimming in the fountain in the background. He hasn't gotten there yet to create this mask, because that's his real mask, is Bruce Wayne. He is Batman 24/7. So when she said that, and I heard some other people say that, I was like, I didn't even think about that. That makes complete sense. But you could choose to believe that, or choose to look at it that way or not. But it just made a lot more sense. So, yeah, he's not a playboy yet. He hasn't, and you can see the back and forth him and Alfred had. Even Alfred's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you can see they had that back and forth, and Andy Serkis, who did a great job. So once I thought about that, I was like, wow, that makes perfect sense. But yeah, I really love the movie. I really enjoyed it. The fucking car chase sequence is fucking fire. The way it's filmed, the stunt work, it's so good. And I love the music. I love this theme that's in here. Both movies have great soundtracks. Both Batman themes. You know, it's funny, OGP, when you said earlier how the Keaton movies are considered like campy, right? What's funny, Rick, and I've heard so many other people say that. What's funny, Rick, is I remember when the Keaton movies came out, and there was warnings. Parents were like, don't let your kids. There was tons of videos on TV. There was churches.
I remember that, yeah.
Churches that were like, don't let your children see the Michael Keaton Batman movies. They're too dark and disturbing. Oh my God.
To be fair, look what it's done to all of us.
Yeah. It's just so funny when you think about that now. But yeah, I love the Batman. Negatives? I really can't. Oh. Okay. I thought of one.
Yo, that thing hit you hard.
Yeah, I thought of one. I really like this actor. I thought he was phenomenal, and There Will Be Blood. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal in Prisoners. When I heard they were casting the guy from Prisoners, if you see Prisoners, you'll see you know what I'm talking about. The guy from Prisoners as the Riddler, I was like, oh my god, this is like gold. And there were parts of the film where I think he really nailed it. He did something interesting. But there were other parts of the film where so once that happened, I was like I'm watching it, I'm enjoying some of his performance, and then there's other parts where I'm just like, is this good? Is this good? Is this cringe? There was something off.
I don't need to talk.
I don't hate it.
You're just you're saying everything I'm gonna say.
again, I don't hate it. I think he did bring something. But yeah, something was just off, and not in a good way for me. But that's it. That's my little nitpick. But John, go ahead. Go right to you.
So yeah, so
what he said.
Yeah, like well, I'm gonna start with that because I watched it today and it was only my second time watching it because I saw it in the movie theater, but I haven't watched it since then, and not because I didn't like it, just because I just haven't gotten around to it, you know. But I was watching that like when he goes to see, and I'm just like, he's trying to be like Heath Ledger, he's trying to like channel, he's like trying to be that demented and good, and he's just coming off as just like, you know, like silly putty. I'm just like I didn't believe it. But when he's got the outfit on, yeah, he's just like, I was sold. And I like because everybody that came at me at my website, they're like, this isn't the Riddler. I'm like, they're allowed to do things different.
Right.
You know that, right? It's like, plus if you read like the comics and stuff like that, things change over time. He's not always going to look like Jim Carrey, you know, and like have that haircut and everything. But going back to the actual movie, I'm a fan of it. Am I a fan of the 3 hours? No, I don't know why. I mean, I'm just watching and I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that like, I mean, like 2 hours and 20 was Batman Begins, I believe. I mean, that's good. I liked how they didn't show like the death of his parents again because I'm like, do we need to see that? No, we've seen it like 8,000 times. But
caffeine will kill you.
Yeah, right. I like Robert, and again, Robert Pattinson. Like people come at me, the guy from Twilight. I'm like, I've never seen Twilight. I don't care who this guy is. If he comes in and does a good job as Batman, I'm happy with it. Who cares? He's an actor. He did these movies and he got paid well for it. So like I would have done the Twilight movies if they paid me what they paid Robert Pattinson probably. So it's like who cares what movies he did in the past? Like, when people come at me with that, I'm just like shut up and I delete you. So I'm like I thought he did a good job and they were like, oh, he's emo Bruce Wayne. I'm like, no, he's not. He's confused. He doesn't know. He's just figuring this out. It's Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. He like I like how he knocks on the door. Like, you know, he's like. And they open up and there's Batman standing there. It's like, and I'm like, and people are like, I want him crashing through the ceiling like Christian Bale did. I'm like, I know, but he's not there yet. Later on in the movie, he runs down the scaffolding pretty damn cool. So it's like he's just figuring things out. He takes the mask off and he's got the eyeliner and stuff, but that's because he's got the mask on and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, he looks like an emo Bruce Wayne. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He just looks like a confused poor man who's trying to fight crime and, you know, and the Batmobile. Let me just say, that is the most iconic scene I've seen in a long time. When you just see it in the shadows, it's revving up. It sounds like Godzilla's coming. It's so good. I like how like the Tumblr came out in Batman Begins. I'm like,
good.
I was like this in my chair. I'm like, here it comes. Here it comes. And then when it just explodes, I'm like, and that, like you said, Samurai, that chase and how when Penguin thinks he got him and he's screaming, he's like, I got you. And then all of a sudden you just see, it just comes over top. And I'm just like, yeah, this is kick ass. And again, the fight scenes, I love the hallway scene that's dark and it's lit up by the machine gun fire. And you see freaking Batman coming. And again, it's kind of hard to see because you only see it when the machine gun fire's going off. But I like stuff like that. I like when it's like done like that because it's different and it's got a little tinge to it, you know. And the ending was cool. I liked how the Riddler got like his, you know, because he, you know, he was pussy, but you know, but he got all these guys like his army of followers from the internet to, you know, dress up like him, and he had to fight him at the end. And like this, yeah, exactly. And even with the you know, the dust and everything, and the smoke and the fog and everything, it's like you can see what's going on, and you can see what he's doing, and he's aggressive Batman. He's like, I'm gonna hit you, and I'm gonna keep hitting you because I'm pissed off. And I like that about him. It's like, I like that attitude. That I like how he says, "I am vengeance," because right now it's like he's new. He's figuring things out. He's not, you know, he's not justice yet. He's vengeance, you know, because he's pissed off and everything. And I thought it was kind of Godfather-esque, you know, like with the plot with his family and how, you know, his parents died, and it wasn't like just some scumbag in the alleyway that was waiting to rob them when they were coming out of the, you know, the opera or whatever. I like how there was this whole like, you know, like plot behind it, and that kind of made it all different. Zoe Kravitz, I take it or leave it. And again, I'm a fan of women. Don't get me wrong. But
you hate women.
But she didn't really like. I mean, she was fine. I mean,
are you saying she's the Rachel of the movie?
Yeah. I am. I'm sorry. I just like, when she was on, I was just like, hey, like, you know. And then like when they're together, Batman.
Wake up! What's your name again? I forgot. Anyway, go ahead. All right.
So positives. I like Robert Pattinson. I like this take on it. I would have liked to have seen Ben Affleck's Batman because with Deathstroke, and like I'm a fan of Deathstroke, and I would have loved because that shit sounded like off the wall, awesome. But you know, it didn't happen, and we got what we got. But I'm
hopefully one day.
Like I said, it's like a graphic novel. Book movie. It's a graphic novel movie. It's not like you know. Hey, you were going, Samurai, real quick, and I'll shut up so somebody else can talk. But you were saying how somebody was complaining that it was grounded. I'm like, Batman is grounded. Like, yeah, he gets into the Justice League, and when he gets in with Superman and all them, and it goes fantasy and everything. But the actual Batman storyline is grounded. It's like the city is just like, you know, they do different takes on Gotham City and stuff like that. But it is a grounded movie. And I like the stripped down Batman, like, because in Batman Begins, you know, he had Lucius Fox, and like, hey, we have this weapons development, you know, division, like, take all this stuff, and it's like he had to like do stuff himself and think of things like that. Batmobile was just him like spending every hour he could get like just working on like an old car and stuff like that. And I liked his outfit. I liked how he took the bat off and used it. And you know, I've been reading the comics since I was a kid. I was like, I enjoyed it. Did I enjoy the 3 hours? That's probably my worst takeaway from it.
Little too lengthy. Okay,
all right. Today, and I'm not gonna lie, I paused it a couple times and walked away, and then came
copy
back.
that. I got a little bat rant. I think Batman's been bullshitting us this whole time. This not killing. Okay, I think Batman's been bullshitting. All right, the whole I don't have to save you either. Batman, you killed Ra's al Ghul by leaving that train.
Yeah, you did.
You killed Ra's al Ghul by I don't have to save you. Shut up. You know, everyone lost their shit when Ben Affleck was killing people in BVS. Michael Keaton killed people in the Keaton movies. Michael Keaton killed people in the Michael Keaton movies. Did we forget about that?
I love Ben Affleck. And that warehouse scene in Batman versus Superman, I freaking love that shit.
Batman's bullshitting.
Yeah, I was like, give me more.
You heard it here, folks, man. Batman is capping, bro.
That's right. All right, Shogun. Thoughts on the Batman, good and the bad?
The good, like a lot of people, you know, they were like looking forward to it on the director base, and the actor, it was the production designer, James Chinlund, because he did Planet of the Apes and some of the, I think one of the Marvel films. And because I work in theater right now, that's what I do. So set design for me is hugely important when it comes to films. And he made this film look very busy And for the love of God, they actually use lights. They use lamps. Hallelujah. They think everybody has an OLED TV with this natural lighting nonsense. Not everybody has a freaking Sony Area 8000 camera with freaking 16 megs or K resolution. There, no, man. People have TCLs. People have, LGs. They don't have no Sony beautiful OLED or the LG Master Series. Nobody has that. It's only a few. So I love the way it looked, and I got the best 15 minutes of my life in that film. That opening sequence with the train, with all this particle stuff flying, and with that music kicking in with the atmosphere, man, that thing made me feel like I was watching The Crow, how that city looked. Nice. It was just marvelous. And the way he popped up, man, he popped up like Kendrick versus Drake, bro. He's just there. He just popped up. That thing was amazing. And when I saw the fighting, how seamless it was, it reminded me of you could tell they used this for reference, of the Rocksteady video games Batman. Even the lights, there was little references with the games there. Even the way the lights would add a little bit of lens flares, you see that in the Rocksteady
Arkham games, yeah.
Yeah, man, those Arkham games, especially with the wet floor, you see that throughout all the Arkham games. So that was great. After that, I started getting mad.
All right.
There was no chemistry.
Okay.
It was bland. And when you have somebody as Catwoman, I love Zoe Kravitz. I love her. She had no charisma. She was just there. Especially when you got that crazy performance from Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right.
And her transition of the arc, that she had this little nerdy, quirky thing. And when she became Catwoman, you felt the transition. It was like a different person.
Right.
Her voice, her tone, her mannerisms. You was captivated by it. So I didn't get nothing from everybody in this film, but for some reason, I freaking loved it.
Okay.
You know why? It's something that you mentioned earlier, is like they're getting to know themselves. They're not perfect yet. You're going to see mistakes. You're going to see stumblings. And you saw that throughout the film. It wasn't like, I was quirky here, now I am the man. An hour later, no, it was consistent. Everybody's still learning. And for some reason, I was highly engaged.
Nice.
I was like, why do I like this? There's so much I hate. So much I love. Like my girlfriend.
I like it, but I don't know
a lot of things I didn't like about her, but yo.
Nice.
I'm digging this.
I like this. Yeah.
Because you know why? It felt like, it's gonna this weird comparison to say, but it felt like I was watching The Wire. Some of the characters making the most dumb decisions, but that's who they are. And it was great to me. I actually liked this film. I saw it twice.
Nice.
My friend was saying, damn, you're in an abusive relationship with this film. I said, you know what? There's something there. I'm gonna find it.
You're like, I should hate this movie, but I.
It's like for me, this film is my 2.0 of only God Forgives. I love that horrible reffing film. I love it. I found something new every time.
Right? It's
every
such a good
time.
movie. Yeah.
And then I did research on the references and everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is a floor masterpiece. Yeah. But that's subjective. But I don't know. I like this film a lot. There's so much about it. Like compared to the Nolan one, which is fantastic, I actually like the way the world looks here. It doesn't feel barren. It feels very much alive. And that has to do with the production design. Besides that ending, I forgot. I even forgive the ending. Just like your friends are going to screw up. You forgive them later on.
Since you brought up the ending, I have to ask everyone really quick, and then we'll go to Billy. All right. Do you think, I forgot the name of the actor. Maybe Fanatical, you can help me out. The actor that was supposed to be the next Joker in this universe. Do you think
Keegan?
Do you think he would have played a good Joker? Like, let's be honest.
No. His laugh was horrible.
I don't know why my head is shaking. No, but it's doing it.
Okay. Because
I want the Joker, but not him.
Do you think you'll all be okay tomorrow? Do you think you'll be all okay tomorrow? Do me a huge favor, Phat. Do not ask those kind of stupid, unanswerable questions.
Well, they kind of all answer.
Blonde, not blonde. Blonde, not blonde. Remember that? Your recruit's going to be awful. Just leave it alone. There's no way we'll ever know. Carry on.
Oh, it's fun to speculate. Come on.
No, it's not.
All right. Yes, it is. Billy, thoughts on the Batman?
So I remember being really impressed with this one when they first started releasing. They did the first trailer, because you could tell right away they were doing their own thing. They weren't like jumping off and trying to do Nolan's Batman. They weren't going back to an old version of Batman. They were showing their new version of Batman. And I really was excited about the casting. I liked Robert Pattinson because I had just seen Good Time also, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting choice at the very least. And so I went to go see it, and I was really bored for a lot of the movie.
All right.
And that's kind of like, unfortunately, the impression that I left the theater with. I was like, it was kind of boring. The plot was like really convoluted. Because when I got to the end of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I get what happened. I get like how all the pieces were moving. I don't know if I needed to go through that 3 hours to get there.
Right.
But I think that was my big, and I've got a lot of like nitpicks about story and characters, but who cares really? Like I think at the end of the day, like now watching it again for a second time, I appreciate it a lot more than I did the first time watching it. Actually, kind of similar to Batman Begins. I was able to sort of watch it again, knowing what it was, and appreciate all the really cool shit that was in there, because there's a lot of cool shit in it.
And you didn't see it in a theater this time.
Correct. Yeah. So that was a big issue too. I did, same thing as John. I had to pause it and go do stuff because it's 3 hours long.
Well, that's the best. It's like when you're in the
That's the best way to see a movie like this, and Oppenheimer and rest. But I'll get to it when it gets to me. Go ahead.
Yeah. But like it's the same thing that everyone's talking about. The cinematography is beautiful. The action scenes are iconic, and I loved that his fighting style was so distinct. He's just this rageful Batman, and you see it in the middle of these fights where they really capture his expression during the fight scenes, where he's like getting hit and he's getting shot. Like, he's not a ninja like Christian Bale. He's just a brawler. He's throwing himself into the middle of these people and just beating the shit out of people, but he's getting hit and he's getting hurt. But you see it just piss him off, and it makes him fight harder. And so it's a really interesting way of showing those Batman fight scenes, and I felt like that was fresh and new and really spoke to the character the whole time. So I really loved all of that. You gotta call out the makeup I almost said the makeout team. The makeup team. The makeout team was not bad either, though. But the makeup team for Colin Farrell's makeup, it was almost so good that I'm like, maybe you guys should just cast someone that looks like that. That looks like a lot of work. But
it's a lot of money.
I got you.
I
got you.
Yeah,
he's so good.
But it's, again, we kind of talked about a lot of the stuff. I thought it was really slow, overly convoluted. I love Paul Dano. I was excited about his casting too, but same kind of thing. I never really engaged with that character. He was never scary, really, except for the very beginning, the very opening, when he leaps out with that scream and the hammer. I was
he fades out of the shadows a little
bit.
That was
yeah. I mean, that the whole first 15 minutes, like Shogun was saying, it's really captivating and really effective. And then this was the one thing that I just could not shake in the movie, and it's gonna sound stupid and little maybe, but one of the riddles was something like, it's a rat with wings, and they spend a solid 40 minutes with different answers to that, and I'm like, it's a bat.
Yeah,
we all know it's a bat, right?
Yeah.
We know it's a bat, right? And I'm like, we all know it's a bat they're talking about, but they don't get to that answer for 40 minutes, and then when he's like, he means a bat.
Yeah,
that is just so silly.
Penguin just tells him nothing. He's
he means a bat.
But there's a reason for that too. We'll get to it.
Okay, yeah, but I remember seeing it in the theaters, sort of being left a little disappointed, and I really wish it had been better. But I also remembered I'm not mad at it, because it was all those pandemic delays, all of the craziness with the studios. Who knows what's going on? So I think at the end of the day, I didn't really like it, but I don't fault anyone involved in the movie with it. It's a very strange thing. So I appreciate so much about it. And I am excited if they are going to do a direct sequel to this one, which I've heard yes and no. I would be excited to see it.
All right. Copy that. Dragon.
I love it. I mean, I maybe don't love it quite as much as, or I love it in a different way to Batman Begins.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
if this was a straight up cinematography versus war, as many others have said, the Batman would win hands down. Cinematographer Greg Fraser, who was the cinematographer on Dune and Dune Part 2 and Zero Dark 30 and Rogue One, it looks amazing. And it's really rare to see a Hollywood movie unafraid of doing really shallow depth of field. Like there's so many shots that literally there's one thing in the frame that's maybe almost in focus, but so much of it they just let kind of drift into this weird otherworldly kind of vibe. And as my boy Frankie said, the production design's also absolutely incredible. It's weird that a few folks have shouted out the score, because for me, there's only two songs in the whole score of this movie. There's Nirvana's Something in the Way, and there's Ave Maria.
Right.
And it's kind of almost like the Riddler's theme is Ave Maria, and Batman's theme's Something in the Way, which does kind of lean into that emo thing. And I'm not knocking it, but he is kind of emo, and I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
I just wish they'd maybe brought in like Trent Reznor and get Trent Reznor to do the score for it. Would have been kind of pretty
That would be
badass.
cool too. Yeah.
I think it leans. Nolan took it really far away from the comics in a way, and as many other people have also said, this kind of pulls it back into that kind of comic book world. And it reminded me a lot of. There's a Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale book called Catwoman in Rome that kind of made a connection that Catwoman might have been from the Falcone family, and it kind of felt a lot like they were trying to kind of tip their hat to that, which I was fine with. It's only really the last act that I kind of struggled with a lot. Like I think it kind of didn't really have a sort of big climax. The kind of climax was kind of with the Penguin in the middle of that chase sequence. That was kind of like it never managed to get up to those heights again in its final act. And as others said when we were speaking about it earlier, he became more like Superman in the end. He became the Batman of the people rather than that kind of like lone Dark Knight. But yeah, I thought it was pretty badass, just a different kind of badass. But it's weird how time is the biggest enemy of these movies, right? Like when the Keaton Batman movies came out at the time, I think I was maybe 12 when that first one came through, and remember it being a big deal at the cinema. And it was the darkest thing we'd ever seen, right? It was the most gothic and the most hardcore Batman. And then you fast forward to Nolan's movies coming out, and those Keaton ones look pretty fucking goofy by comparison. And now, weirdly, the Batman kind of makes the Nolan movie look a little bit goofy by comparison to, in ways, right? As much as I love it, and there's always going to be a goofy element to a guy dressing up as a bat and going out and fighting crime in the streets. So we can never get away from that. But it's just weird how at the time it feels like it's dark as pitch, and then with a little bit of a turn of the dial to a slightly different direction, it can look a bit different. But yeah, I love it, and loved it when I saw it at the cinema, and love it even more with subsequent viewings. The Joker thing, I hope that they do a bit of a U-turn on that, because it felt like I can't pronounce that dude's surname. It's Barry Keoghan or Keegan, or it's a very strange Irish surname. I felt he was trying to channel Heath Ledger a bit too much. And I'm going to wrap this up super quick because I've been rambling for too long. But there was two movies that kind of came out of Asia recently. There was A Man of Reason from Korea. Frankie has definitely seen that, and Blind War from China. And both of those had a sort of double act, almost Joker and Harley character that were nothing like we've seen in Batman movies. That's the way they should go, right? Especially with Blind War. I think if they can lend more into that sort of tone, then I'll be very happy if that happens for a Batman 2.
We're showing a clip of Blind War at the San Diego Comic-Con, and it's not, for me, it's Daredevil and Elektra. Yeah. That's what they are.
Yeah, well, kind of, but what, on the villain side?
No, on the hero side.
Yeah, she, the way she is,
yeah. All right, carry on.
We're going to get our, before we go, we are going to get our spin-off series, so we're going to get to see more of the Penguin in the Penguin sort of spin-off show.
Right.
He's doing an Arkham show too, and there was a big hard lean into those Arkham games, which I was all for. Even him having shot gloves, right? He had sort of stun guns built into his gloves, which is pretty cool. So, yeah. Anyway, enough rambling. Next person.
OGP, thoughts on the Batman?
So I think it should be said before diving too hard into any superhero movie.
I accidentally clicked the button there by accident. I'm sorry.
Like I said earlier, horror movies are more like my wheelhouse. Right. And so I love the fact, like right at the beginning, You know, when you got Paul Dano back there in the shadows, I'm like, okay, this is fucking cool. Because if you weren't really paying attention in that first shot, that first reveal, you might not have seen, you know, the face back there.
Yeah.
So a lot of superhero movies have burnt me out just because it's like reboot after reboot after reboot. And I'm like, I don't need to see the same fucking shit all the time. I love the fact that with this one, well, before I even get into that, let me say, when I went into the theater, I was like, I'm going to go see this, but I don't know why, because this is going to suck, because the goofball from the Twilight movies playing Batman, I just don't know about that. I went in with the lowest expectations, thinking this is going to be horrible. And when I got out of the theater, I was so shocked. And I've done this, I know I've done this to you a couple times, Samurai, where I've told you guys like, oh, I fucking love this movie, and you and Phat Blood are like, what the fuck is wrong with OGP? Like, so, and I know I saw this movie before you guys, and I mentioned that I fucking loved it, and I was so blown away. So I think that might skew my score a little bit of the fact that how impressed I was with the low expectations that I did have. But throughout this movie, it was, I mean, they touched on elements of a horror movie so often, with the suspense and the dark and, you know, the things hiding in the shadows and the unexpected and stuff. And it wasn't all just, you know, goofy in your face fighting and stuff. And so I really love that. And I didn't mind the length, you know, and watching just to do this the other day, I rewatched the whole the trilogy, and yeah, going through, man, Dark Knight Rises, god dang, that's a hard one to get through anymore. But this
another episode.
Yeah, I watched the Batman, no problem, all the way through one sitting. I was good to go. But I understand, you know, the differences there. But as far as in the movie, I just like the fact that his weapons and his tools and all his gadgets were just handed to him, like in the Nolan films, where, you know, and that's fine. I appreciate the way, you know, the Christian Bale got all his weapons. They were already there, you know, but the fact that it was a more raw Batman. And maybe I missed something, but you guys are saying this is year one Batman. In the movie, doesn't he say, I've been doing this for 2 years?
Yes, year 2.
So this is really year 2 Batman. Yeah. But I mean, just whatever. It's
same,
you know, but the fact is, yeah, he's still so raw and everything is still so new. Like one of the simplest things is his boots. He's wearing like work boots, you know, if you notice. And so it you know, he doesn't have the full costume, the full getup yet, because it's all still a work in progress. Kind of like his Bruce Wayne, like you're saying, is a work in progress. So I kind of like the way they went a little bit different direction than the Nolan films with that, because I was like, I don't need to see it again. I don't need to see his parents killed again. You know, I don't need to see all these things. Give me something new. Give me a new story. And you know, I thought the cast, what they did with the cast and everything was great. But yes, Paul Dano is like kind of weird as a Riddler. But I think with this story, with the film, with the cinematography, which hands down to me, cinematography in this has got Batman Begins beat. But if you took maybe Christian Bale and put him in as Batman here, and maybe replaced Paul Dano with, I don't know, pick your favorite actor, this might be in my opinion, the best Batman movie ever.
Well, you'd rather Batman
if you
already not really struggling to get to know himself.
No. I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying replace the actor.
Oh, just the actor.
Just replace the actor, because I think people went in going, and again, I'm not the diehard superhero fan. I'm more of a horror fan, but I think a lot of people went in going, I don't know about this cast. This cast doesn't like. You hear the cast for Batman Begins, you're like, holy shit, get me to the theater now. Where this cast, I was like, I don't know.
I don't know if Bale would have mattered if they still wanted him to be the same
more
character.
importantly
in the
than
Batman.
specifically Bale, just pick your favorite actor and put in different cast. I kind of think
Pattinson did really well. Notorious, have you seen The Lighthouse?
You know what? I had it right here, but I haven't watched it yet.
Dude,
I
watch it. Pattinson's legit, right?
Yeah. No. And I fell in love with Pattinson as an actor during this movie. I never saw any of the Twilights. I never saw any of that. But anyways, just the fact that it was more raw, and the Batmobile, because I don't know, was that a Firebird that they used? My dad's car, the first car I remember my dad ever having was like a 69 Firebird, and it looked just like that. I mean, but it didn't have fire coming out of the ass end of it, but otherwise it looked like that. So once I saw that, I was like, this is amazing. I love this Batmobile. But and how raw it was, and new Batman, I liked it. I really appreciate it. It was.
All right, Kyle.
So I got to start from the fact that as Rick pointed out, that Batman Begins came out after Batman and Robin. We got this after fucking Joss Whedon's Justice League. How do you recover from that?
It's tough.
Ben Affleck. And yes, we got fucking Zack Snyder's thing, but besides the fact that, yes, Robert Pattinson. I remember watching Robert Pattinson in Cosmopolis, and I was like, all right, yeah, you can act, dude. And then seeing him in Tenet right after, and then hearing that, yeah, he's Batman. I was like, okay, cool. I had no qualms with any of the fact that casting-wise, I was like,
oh, he disappeared.
Oh no, he froze.
Kyle froze. Well, Rick.
Well, when you come back, Kyle, we'll let you back on.
Go for it, Rick. Go ahead.
Again, it all depends on how you see things. This movie came out, I think, in 2022. I am not going to. You saw even while we're watching this, you saw how many times I had to get up and go to the bathroom. I've already been up twice during this recording to go to the bathroom. So I'm not going to a movie theater and sit for 3 hours.
Right,
I have a beautiful screen with wonderful stereo sound, so I saw it here. So some of the problems that some of you had with the movie, I didn't have because I was in control of this movie. I was the projectionist. So basically, and also from my past, as I said, I read mystery novels. I was involved with Batman. I knew all about this stuff. So as I'm watching this, I'm going, oh, and also I take each film individually. I'm not going to hold it against the film because an actor in a movie I haven't seen and that I wouldn't see was in it. In other words, OGP, you're not talking about for other people. You're talking about you, and that's fine. Each of us has our own opinion.
Yeah.
So don't say
100%.
Some people would want this. No, you didn't want it. You changed the actor. So in any case, I'm not holding it against.
And that's why I say I wonder if some people would like it.
Yeah, but you can't read anybody else's mind but your own. So don't stop. It's a waste of time to wonder.
No,
just think about what you think. But in any case, anyway, and also keep in mind that I was born of a schizophrenic mother and I was raised by a manic depressive mother. So I know what a damaged child looks like, and I know what a damaged child acts like. And I was watching this movie the way I watched The Sixth Sense, in that when I was watching The Sixth Sense, I began to, because I'm a mystery guy, I began to say, geez, wouldn't that be great if he was dead? I bet he's dead. And I waited for the whole rest of the movie to go, and it turns out he was dead, spoiler alert. And I went, I love this movie. That's the way I'm feeling about this film, in that this is a damaged child. This movie is more of and also then again I see the action sequences and it's power. And I understand how a damaged child is always looking for power and is always looking to do better. So if you watch it again, notice how he learns. Also, I love the sequence. Of course, it took him 40 minutes to understand about the rat versus the bat situation because he's trapped inside his head. And of course the Penguin goes, it's a bat, asshole. Of course it's a bat. And I'm going, of course it's a bat. And of course it took you 40 minutes to figure that out because you are trapped inside your head. You're a prisoner of your pain. And you, throughout the movie, you watch his fighting change. Each of the fights, the major fights, that's another thing I love. As I've always said, that's why I love the Hong Kong movies, is especially the Jackie Chan style and the La Corleone style. Each of the fighters learns with every single fight. They learn something, and you see it manifest, if you're looking for it, in the following fight. That's what happened here. He fought in character. And as his character changed, and this whole movie, and the reason that I love the ending so much, because it wasn't about the action. It was about where he finally understood his place in this universe. That's why he revealed himself at the end, because he's here to protect them, not to unprison his brain. I have to admit, I was sorry they included the Joker. The Joker has been played so well at least twice or three times, because I love Nicholson's Joker too. So the fact that he used Joker at all, I said, that's a mistake. You don't need the Joker. You've got the Riddler. And again, we don't want more than one villain. We want to concentrate. So I'm sorry he used the Joker. I hope the Joker isn't in the next one. I hope he's smart enough to use another one that maybe we haven't seen endlessly played by other people. Because here we have a unique Batman, a Batman year 2, who has found himself, and hopefully he will continue to change. Let me see, I wrote something. Oh yeah, the other thing that I loved about this movie, this is the only Batman movie I've ever seen where I would believe that just because a guy put on a mask, no one would recognize him. Every other Batman who's ever played it has an unbelievably distinct mouth. You look at Michael Keaton. You look at even Affleck. You look at all these guys with their chins and their mouths. Everybody would go, "Oh yeah, that's Bruce Wayne."
Did you just diss Robert Pattinson's mouth?
No, I didn't. I dissed the fact that he is generic looking gentleman. His mouth and his chin and his head shape is not distinct.
Right.
Millions of people have that look.
Man, I love that outfit, man. That outfit in this
film.
There
you go.
That outfit is ridiculous. And then the gun, whatever.
Yeah. And I also, as he changes his approach with each one, and he changes his reaction with each one. And also, I love when I go to these. I used to go to the movies. I had my favorite movie with my favorite staff. We were all friends. We would always talk about the movie afterwards. And I loved when the people would come out. And because I was writing magazines and books and shit, I would always ask the people coming out, what did you think of the movie? What did you think? And most of the reactions I got, the majority of the reactions I got was, oh, I liked it. And I go, why? That's why I'm Professor Why. Why? They couldn't tell me. A lot of audiences I met, and I have met these people, I'm not, reading their minds, like I'm asking them what they thought, and their reaction. And I've, under the 50 years of writing about movies and all the rest of it, and seeing movies and talking to people about movies, a majority of the audience that I've talked to don't know why they like it. So I made it to know why I like it, because I can't read their minds, but I can read my own. And so I knew why I liked this movie. I love this movie, in fact, because again, damaged child finding himself, the whole plot, it's parallel between the action and his character development. And I just, at the ending, I did the what's that great movie? I'm blanking on it because I'm an old man, where the water drops on the girl who's dancing.
Flash dance?
Flash dance. I did a flash dance at the end of this movie. And it was just like the water smashed into me, and I'm going, oh yeah, I get it now. That's great. Another thing I loved about this movie, even though it got quieter and quieter as it finished, they did everything for a reason. When Catwoman and Batman separate, I was just like, I got chills, because one went this way, one went this way on their bikes. I was just like going, So
in a cemetery in Glasgow.
Yeah, there you go. Daniel Herreras, Samuel Le were the choreographers and the kite guys in this one, and I'm just like going, 2 thumbs up, gentlemen. Nice job. Now let's see. I wrote Damaged Child. I got change fight style, change character. Oh yeah. he's mentally constipated. That was the phrase I was looking for. He's mentally constipated until the end. He just has a Metamucil of the mind, and it's just like boom.
There needs to be an actual review written somewhere so people could read that.
I wrote originally fight versus character. It's not fight versus character. It's fight X character. It's fight and character. So guess what I'm going to vote for?
We're going to come back to that. Well, this is what's awesome about talking about films, having this channel, doing series like this with Versus, that every single one of us had our own personal experience with the movie, and all our experiences. Some of them are similar, some of them are different. But you notice one thing: we're all different. We all have a different opinion on the same movie, but we're having fun talking about it. We're having fun agreeing to disagreeing. We're not fucking assholes. This can work, people. We can all. The world can go round. We can all be friends.
Yeah, this is the best conversation I had.
And still be friends. It's fine. I love these guys. These guys. Oh wait, hold on. I think he's back.
Is he back? Come on, buddy. Kyle.
Yay! Have you been talking this whole time?
We're done.
Yeah. And then go like,
Did the Riddler hack your computer?
Yeah.
There you go.
Talk shit about it.
Yeah. All right.
Hurry, finish your thoughts.
Go ahead.
So basically, yes. I like the fact that this film felt like the animated series to me because of the whole detective story, along with the fact that you have Michael Giacchino's score feeling like the 90s animated series. That's what really gave it some reverence to me. And the fact that, as you said, Samurai, it felt like more of a Batman film. That's why we don't get much of Bruce Wayne in it. This is a pure Batman film, which is probably the fact that some people don't like the fact that, well, we need to see Bruce Wayne. It's like, no, you finally get a full Batman movie. It's just Batman, him being Batman from beginning to end, and it's harsh, but the fact he says it in the end that it scares him that everyone's taking his credo of like, I'm vengeance, and people are like taking that to their own hands, and now you have to change that, and whatever it leads to being for him of being Batman for the people of Gotham. It's really interesting to see like a fresh take differently, and that's why we got something with Christopher Nolan's Batman here with Matt Reeves. It's interesting to see. Just hope they don't go campy, but we don't know what Warner Brothers is going to do. Whatever.
Right.
James Gunn. It's going to be James Gunn's decision.
Oh yeah, James Gunn. So under James Gunn's rule, well, besides the fact that this is an Elseworld thing because he has the DCU and then all that multiverse crap, I don't care anymore. It's just played out.
All right, copy that. Like a little bit of like Batman Mask of the Phantasm vibe, a little bit.
Yes, that's what I love about it. And I was gonna joke that my vote is Batman Mask of the Phantasm instead of all these two movies.
Well, that movie's amazing. That's an underrated Batman movie. All right. It's time to vote, baby. Oh yeah. Before we go around and get everybody's vote, we have some special guest voters. Vid voters.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get my list.
Mr. Myers, the master of tally. We'll go ahead and put Frank's down. Frank has the Batman. I'm sorry, Batman Begins for Frank.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So we got one for Batman Begins. All right. Up first, martial artist, actor, stuntman, and Power Ranger. Shout out to Javon.
Hey, Fat Samurai guy, Javon Wallace here. And my pick for your versus battle of Batman Begins versus Matt Reeves Batman, I'm going to take Matt Reeves Batman. Cinematography, the story, the action, it's all top tier. I'm taking Matt Reeves Batman. Keep it short, clean, and simple. Love you, Christopher Nolan, but Matt Reeves all the way.
Wow, look at that. All right.
Did you find that smooth? Like, how smooth was that? He was like, hey. I was like,
that thing was at 100 frames, bro. That
was sweet.
Yeah.
We've all been doing this wrong.
Javon, all right. Javon's always been smooth.
Right?
All right, one for Begins, one for the Batman. Next up, martial artist, actor, stuntman, filmmaker, who's actually been training with the Jackie Chan stunt team. I'm gonna have to get with him and talk to him about that. Our boy Nathan Gearing.
Yo, it's your boy Nathan Gearin here, action actor and fight choreographer. So, yeah, this Versus was a real interesting one for me. When I first watched Batman Begins all those years ago when it first came out, I really didn't like it. And I think that was because I was comparing the action to Hong Kong and Eastern cinema, really. And yeah, for me, it just wasn't living up to that standard. So I kind of switched off from the rest of the movie. But fast forward all these years later and watching it again, absolutely loved it. You know, I loved the depth that they went to in terms of looking at the psychology behind ninjutsu. I also really enjoyed how they utilized Bruce Wayne's kind of like fear of the bat, and then how he went and then developed that to basically become a fear for his enemies. I thought that was brilliant. In terms of the Batman, I really didn't think it's stacked up in comparison. I like the cinematography in the film, but yeah, in terms of Bruce Wayne, played by the dude from Twilight, yeah, he wasn't a good Bruce Wayne for me. I mean, he was cool when he donned on the suit and became Batman, but in terms of being Bruce Wayne, his demeanor just wasn't there. I felt Christian Bale played a much better Bruce Wayne. Also, Michael Caine absolutely smashed it as Alfred. So for that, I'm going to have to give it to Batman Begins.
All right, shout out to Nathan. 2-1. Next up, he is a human tank. One of his biceps is two of mine. But yeah, Mr. Big Phil here, martial artist, actor, stuntman, director. He's done it all.
Batman Begins versus The Batman. This is a harder question than I thought it would be. I think Nolan's movie was amazing. It felt so fresh and different compared to its predecessors. Yeah, they were based really in the fantasy realm, whereas this felt more real. You know, even in terms of its choice of Batmobile using the tumbler. You know, these are things that you could see being military issue. Maybe it was. I think it might have been actually. But either way, it was amazing. The Batman, I feel, came at a time of massive superhero fatigue. Everyone was just sick of all this shit being churned out, you know, left, right, center. It felt soulless and vacuous, and this felt different. It felt more weighty. The sound design was amazing. Fight scenes were sick. The Batmobile chase scene with when he's racing again, chasing after Falcone was just mind blowing. So, although both films are amazing, I'm going to go controversially, I'm sure, with The Batman.
Wow, look at that. It's getting spicy around here. One more, and then we'll go to our panelists here. My man, Eric. That's right. Big, huge comic book fan and metal guitar enthusiast. The brother can shred. But I had to get his opinion here. So here we go. E-Rock, 331 E-Rock, Eric.
Wow.
Wow, he put the time in on that one. Holy cow.
Yeah. Look at that. Batman Begins for Eric. Shout out. Thanks again for sending that to me, brother. Where are we at now, Rick?
3-2.
3-2. Okay. John, who you got, brother?
So every time you have me on one of these shows, I always yell at you because I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so but this one I was like, before I watched them again today, I was like, it's got to be Batman Begins. I'm like, because one, I've seen it the most, like the trilogy and everything, and I just have more of an experience with that. And like I said, the only experience I had with the Batman was sitting in the movie theater, and I enjoyed it when I went to see it, but I think I had to urinate like an hour and a half in, and I was pissed because I was sitting there like, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to go to the bathroom. So maybe that had my, like first impression of it. But I watched them both again today, and listen, I'm not taking anything away from Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. The whole trilogy, like I said, it's immersive. It's fantastic. It's got ninjas in it. You know, you put ninjas in anything, like I said before, it's like just makes things better. But when I watched him again today, I gotta go with the Batman.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, so I got the shirt too. I'm rocking.
Look at that.
Listen,
Yeah.
and again, going back to the actor, I hate when people come at me, like I said on social media. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
He's an actor. He played
Yeah.
in a movie. Doesn't mean like they picked him to play. Yeah, well, he's an actor. So I thought, again, his Bruce Wayne, like I said, work in progress. Everything's a work in progress. And
Right.
yeah, this is his second year, but I took it from Batman Year One, which is the comic storyline that they took.
Yeah.
It from.
Right.
But yeah, I got to go with. I mean, I even
All
like.
right.
I was listening to the music again. I'm like, I especially his theme. Love it.
Yeah.
I love Hans Zimmer. God bless Hans Zimmer. But I was like, I'm digging this music. And the fights, like I said, just brutal and nasty. He's like you said, ground and pound. He gets on the crowd. He's just smashing them. And like I said, that hallway fight with the machine gun muzzle flashes, awesome. The ending was a little, like I said, anticlimactic in terms of Batman Begins and everything. But I mean, and the Batmobile when that came on the screen, like I said, it was like Godzilla coming out of.
All right.
Always save your vote for the end.
Oh,
because you already voted, and it's kind of like, yeah, we've heard. Yeah, okay.
My apologies.
No
mini
apologies.
review again.
Yeah.
Awesome, John. Awesome. Thanks for that, brother. All right, the Batman for John. Billy, who you got?
So this is one of those verses where if we were to break it down into categories, I feel like this one would win this one would win this, and it's like very back and forth. For me, overall, it's Batman Begins, though. I think that one was just like tighter, more of like it's just more impactful for me personally. But give it time. Check in with me again in 10 years, and maybe I'll come with the Batman. But
it's more of it's Batman Begins is more of a crowd pleaser.
Yeah,
it's more of if you compare both movies. All right, Frankie, who you got, brother?
Well, Nolan's Batman is a template for a polished film. It's great. I mean, I have no complaints with that film at all. But I got to go with the Batman.
All right. Wow.
That film reminded me, like, when I discovered comics as a kid, I didn't understand a lot of the words yet because I was learning English. So I didn't understand a lot of the stuff. But the cool thing I remember from those comics, some of them and some of the Marvel ones had, like, reissue so-and-so to know what's going on. And this film, every time I watch it, I discover something new. This film is raw. Like, it's not polished. It's not classical music. It's freaking New York City hardcore metal, bro. It's Mad Boys, Marauder, Candiria, H2O. Like, it's some raw, messy stuff. And I just love it. I relate to the characters. Nobody's perfect. And it stays consistent throughout. And those fights, like, I think it was Billy that mentioned it, like, he just feeds into it. He's just straight brutal. It reminds me of Arturo Gotti when he was boxing back in the day. Mayweather's nice and clean, but people love Arturo Gotti, bro. So, yeah, the Batman. I just love it.
I'm so happy right now because usually I'm going to be honest. I expected a landslide. I expected no one.
Every single time we do this.
Right?
Every single time.
Every time.
Because this is why we choose the movies we do, because it's not going to be easy.
Because to end it real quick, the reason is I realized something. My nostalgia for the Nolan films, the affinity I have for the Dark Knight, I confuse it with Batman Begins. I want people to really watch these films again, because when you watch the Dark Knight and watch Batman Begins, you're like, oh, the contrast is different. So for me, my mind was, it's Batman Begins, and I saw it again. I'm like, oh, So the Batman, and I thank you for letting me be here because seeing these two again, I'm like, the Batman. Oh, this thing is cool. Yes.
All right.
And may I just interject for a second, because while you were talking, I looked something up. You were saying that Batman Begins is more crowd pleasing. Batman Begins made $373.7 million. The Batman made $772.2 million.
Wow.
But of course, that's not adjusted for time.
Right.
So they're about, is one more crowd pleasing than the other? Maybe not.
Interesting.
They're about equal.
Yeah. Maybe. Watch them again, folks. Watch them again.
That's right.
Dragon, who you got?
It's difficult, man. This is like I'm getting flashback deja vu to John Wick 4 and the Raid 2. Like there's no loser in this situation again because these are both phenomenal movies. John's got his The Batman t-shirt. I've got my Nolan kind of Batman ink. So for me, I think probably for the moment going to be Batman Begins. But God damn, it's close.
All right, nice. Where are we at, Rick?
5-4.
All right, Begins is still up 1. Okay. OGP, who you got, brother?
So the elements of the Batman that make it so close to being a horror movie make me absolutely love it. The cast of Batman Begins and a little more backstory of younger Bruce Wayne, I love that. So one day I might pick one day it is very, very hard toss up. Kind of my 2 favorite movies of all time, Shining, Silence of the Lambs. Ask me one day I'll go one way, one day I'll go the other. I can't. So, but with that being said, right now I went all day long swearing I was going to say 1, but after hearing everybody talk, oh no.
Wow.
It is the Batman.
Wow.
And it's a tie. Okay.
It is the
It's
Batman.
a tie, everybody. This is what Versus is all about, man. This is what Versus is all
I
about.
love the horror, how dark and eerie it was. Yes.
It's close. Again, thought it was going to be a landslide. I thought Begins was going to, everyone's going to go Begins. Kyle, who you got? I think I know, but who you got?
Batman Master of the Phantasm. I told you.
No cheating.
No. Yeah, it's exactly how we all talk about this. Watching these 2 films back to back and then trying to figure out which one's going to win. I was like, this is a hard one, a really big hard one. And actually, I had to do this to be a tiebreaker for me. So I rewatched Michael Keaton's Batman '89.
Okay.
And Rick, I don't know if you could answer this for me because no one knew if Batman '89 was going to get a sequel, was it, at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that film just was enveloped all on its own and just had a tight-knit story, I looked at Batman Begins again and I was like, okay, that was a really good origin story. But the fact you guys ended with the fact that, okay, we're going to introduce this. Maybe we might get a sequel, maybe we not. And I was just like, okay, that's a little bit high hopes happening. But with the Batman, the fact that we don't get much of a cliffhanger, we get the fact that Fury finally caught the Riddler, and then randomly we get a Joker cameo, which really didn't care about. But the fact that he has to stay in Gotham to try and rebuild with it and himself, I was like, you know what? I appreciate that kind of ending. So the fact that choosing between both of these, I'm going with the Batman.
Wow.
Oh, man.
The Batman is up 1. Wow. Yes, that's right, Anubis. I paid everybody to vote. I paid Dragon too. Like, go Batman Begins. You got to make it look great. But no, it's interesting. There you go. I thought that's the GOAT. Yes. Okay. But it's interesting you said that though, Kyle, because when they announced a possible sequel for the Batman, this was my first reaction to my wife. I said, do they really need to? They don't really need to, because it's just the way it ended I was perfectly fine with that. And it's always this, you always get scared of if they do continue it, there's a chance they could fuck it up. You know, we can get our Batman.
You guys all hear the rumor that broke out yesterday about Boyd Holbrook being cast as Two-Face.
Oh,
no. Interesting. Okay.
Great choice, because that character has always been ruined in the movies prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, interesting. Okay, Rick.
Well, I was hoping I was going to be the tiebreaker, but I'm not the tiebreaker. I'm just jumping on for the Batman.
Wow, look at that.
Yo, we're gonna go viral, and I'm gonna. It's gonna be amazing.
All right. The Batman for Rick. Anubis is like, you just say it, samurai guy.
Yeah, it's not going to make a difference.
I know. Yeah. Well, we have the community vote.
Well, of course.
We have that too.
But I only care about us.
But again, love Batman Begins. Despite the fights, I still, the movie makes up for it. It's one of the greatest. It's a classic. I give Batman Begins an A, but it's not my favorite Nolan Batman movie. You know, it's not my favorite. So again, sorry, Anubis.
And what does the crowd say?
Oh, well, the crowd agrees. The crowd agrees with Anubis.
There you go. Yep.
There you go.
They almost always do.
Yeah, they agree with Anubis. So there you go, Anubis. That should make you happy. I know. As soon as I knew the Batman was going to win at this point, I just know Anubis right now is going, ah! Oh my God! He's like, rigged. I rigged it, man. Damn it! He found out. There you go. Look at it. Some people agree. There we go. But this was awesome. Thank you, all these awesome gents, for hanging out with me. Shogun, you're a legend, son. We got to get you on more of these, man. Welcome back. It's your second home now. Just second home now,
man.
Yeah, man.
And before we wrap this up, I got to give a massive shout out and a digital hug to Fanatical. He looked out for me, man. He got me this rare Blu-ray, bro. Freaking the Vampire of the Planets, the Mario Barber film from Radiance. I was like, this guy came too clutch.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. You know I got you on that Blu-ray drive, bro.
Fanatical. Hey, you're buds too. I mean, right? Yeah. you hook Samurai guy up with something. You know,
you guys sent so much stuff already, dude.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, this was a blast. Hey, everybody watching right now that is not watching this live, actually afterwards, put in the comments below what would have been your vote. Batman Begins or the Batman. We're going to read all of them and why, and let us know. This is always a blast, always fun, and that's what's great about Versus, that you actually do not know who's going to win. And I think that every single Versus we've had this year, they're both all been pretty epic. They've both been pretty tough choices. So we'll keep it up next month. Yeah, especially when we get close to Halloween. We can do some horror Versus around September and October.
That's gonna be you're gonna kill us, bro. I know you're gonna. No pun intended. You're gonna
Anubis. I'll hit you up and get you on them horror Versus. We gotta do that one too. But hey, everyone here, check out the links below. You can follow everyone that's in this panel. Subscribe to everyone. Action Flicks, baby. Billy Handsome, Fanatical Dragon, the Shogun. He knows his stuff. Kyle Wong and the Oak GP. Subscribe to other channels. Follow them on Instagram. And Rick as well. Check out his store to get some cool merch. And of course, hey, if you guys had fun here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Old Samurai Guy. And we will see you guys on the next one. And don't forget, I forgot to mention earlier, the reason why we chose both of these movies is because we're celebrating Comic-Con month. That's right, because something special and badass is returning to Comic-Con very soon. All right. That's it, everyone. If you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, hey, you got to come to the panel. Say hello to us. Stay tuned for more info. We'll give you the deets and the days and all that good stuff, so stay tuned for that. We can't make an announcement yet, but it's going to be fire. It's going to be epic. But thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll see all you badasses on the next one. Take care, guys.